and welcome to the Bren Harris Podcast, episode 62. I am Bren Harris, and for those of you who may not know me, I founded Warrior Moms by Bren when my son was medically injured at 22 months of age. And we have walked through hell. Now we walk through it like we own the place, and you can too, because your story matters. And hey guys, good to see you. Please let us know where you're chiming in from and share this with a friend. We're talking boundaries tonight. Boundaries to reclaim your freedom, clarity, and power. Now, as a mom of a special needs teen, summers are not what they were when I was a child. And when I was a child, I didn't have to plan. I didn't have to think ahead. I didn't need to do all the things I'm doing. But now I get to have a better and different attitude. Wow, we have Ohio in the house, Georgia in the house, Florida in the house. Oh, this is exciting. And we are streaming across all platforms. We're on Instagram at Win with Bren. We're on Facebook, Bren Harris, and we're also on YouTube under Bren Harris. And today is so exciting because this is kind of kicking off our summer. And we spent a lot of time in the sun today getting some natural vitamin D. And I started thinking about what's so different about right now. And it's not easy, yet it's worth it because we are setting boundaries and reclaiming our freedom, clarity, and power. Now, boundaries, I know, get a bad rap. So just hang with me here. We're going to talk both personal and professional and emotional. So I love ASL, and that's American Sign Language. My son's name is Zach. We kind of call it Zachanese. It's not perfect. It's sort of whatever works for us because we believe, as Jim Quick says, when the body moves, the mind grooves. So we have boundaries, and boundaries is signed like this. Can you do that? It's just a line like that. Boundary. And that means a line or a border or a limit. Really setting a limit on what's acceptable or what's not acceptable. And then we're going to do that with boldness. And bold is like this. You take your fist and you just bump them together like as you're passing down. Bold. So we're going to have boundaries and we're going to be bold. And then we have belief. And belief is really a personal inner conviction. And I love that we can say, take what we like and leave the rest, because I have a lot of opinions and they may not work for you. I am a firm believer that you know what's best for you and your children and setting boundaries. Now, one of the things I like about ASL is that we have a hard time saying new words at our house. Son is diagnosed with a speech delay. He does not have autism. He's diagnosed with autism. And we learned that when we are doing American Sign Language, that we can learn brand new words really easily. It's pretty much a miracle. So we're here to say we're setting boundaries to reclaim our freedom, clarity, and power. And we're also doing that in a bold manner. And our belief is an inner conviction. Now, boundary is a limit, a border, an opportunity. Hey guys, if you're getting value, let us know in the chat. And if you are thinking about sharing this with someone else, New York is in the house. Okay. And please do, because I'm a firm believer that we can take this on the run and we can apply this. I found myself feeling really bad because I was trying to force my son into situations that were not healthy, not good boundaries. We have been chasing the therapy train forever. There's experts out there that say this therapy is the only thing that helps children diagnosed with autism learn to speak. This therapy over here is the exact opposite. And some people think that some of these well-renowned therapies are evil. And we're kind of in the middle where we're taking what works for us and leaving the rest. That doesn't mean we don't get to be on the road 300 dates a year. That means we find a way to make the schedule work for us. Now, a boundary is a limit. And again, this is the ASL sign, boundary, sort of like drawing a line with your pinkies. And we have one of the best examples here. And this is not original. I think I got this from Mel Robbins. When we put up an electric fence for our dog, so that they can't jet across the street when they run out the door, when they put that electric fence on, the dog is wearing a collar. And that collar trains them that when they see those flags where the electric fence is put in underground at the edge of our property, then they know, whoa, I'm going to get zapped if I get too far, if I get too close, if I cross that line. And that's sort of what boundaries are. Now, hear me out. I know boundaries get a bad rap. We're here to say we are here to do boundaries for ourselves. It's respect for ourselves. If I take a trip with 90 of my closest friends and relatives, their schedule is probably not going to work for the way we do things in an autism household. So I am saying, let's watch those white flags that they put up when you put in an electric fence for your dog. And we watch those boundaries and we say, oh, yes, you guys enjoy that excursion on this vacation. We're staying by the pool. Or you guys can go to dinner at 9 p.m. We're eating at 6 because that's what we do and that's our schedule. Now, for example, at work, lack of boundaries equals lack of respect. Hear me. Lack of boundaries equals lack of respect. Now, if you're on the replay or the live, let us know with an R or an L. And please, if you're getting value, please let us know. I got so many responses that this is the top thing that people want to know about right here, right now. And at work, if you have a lack of boundaries, you receive a lack of respect. Now, that can be in the corporate setting or the academic setting or the entrepreneurial setting. I invested in a company last year, and all of a sudden I wasn't getting the notices when the Zoom meetings were, and they changed the time and didn't communicate that. I can't attend your meeting if I don't know when it is. So I'm tongue in cheek. I really like Mark 6:11 out of the Message version translation. It's like, if you're not being heard, shrug your shoulders and move on. So we are here to say boundaries equal respect, and we place boundaries both personally and professionally for ourselves. For me, my boundaries are about me, not about you or how I'm going to react when you violate a boundary I didn't communicate. So this is really important. So boundary is a line, and it doesn't need to be hateful. And another example that I heard this week when studying to come and share this with you guys, you have a relative that likes to talk about racism or politics, and you invite them to have dinner at your house. Well, the boundary is, hey, Uncle Joe, you can come to our house and we'll have dinner, but the moment you talk about racism or politics, we're not having dinner. The dinner is over. And that's before dinner is even served. The dinner is over, because that's the boundary. And the ball is in their court to honor that boundary or violate it and own the consequences. All right. So please let us know. Oh, thanks. Yeah, you're right, Tennille. Not everything works for everybody. And this is really important. Boundaries, like everything else, it's not one size fits all. So we have boundaries, a line or a limit or a border. Think of the electric fence for a dog. They put the little white flags. We had our property marked for some landscaping, and we had flags and spray paint all over the place from all the utilities. That's a warning. Don't dig here. When you have a dog that has the little collar, you have the electric fence. That's a warning for the dog in his training that if you go past this line or you get too close to this line, you're going to get zapped. Well, we communicate respectfully, and we realize that the boundaries are for our own sanity, not because we're being a bitch or trying to make trouble or cause drama. We're doing that for our own mental and emotional health. All right, so we have boundaries, and then we have bold. And bold is defined as fearless, fierce, courageous. A lot of the things I do for my family are not very popular on either side of our family. And I'm learning to go, yeah, you might be right. I'm willing to look at that. Boom. Takes all the steam out of the argument. Yes, you might be right. I'm willing to think about that. Because a man or woman convinced of his or her will is of the same opinion still. We do boundaries to keep our peace, our serenity, and our bubble safe. For my son, if we change the schedule too much, the anxiety goes through the roof and he is aggressive. And that's really challenging when someone doesn't have that capability to let you know what's on their mind. Now, I would love to know if you guys have set a boundary lately and that we have the opportunity to do this every single day, both with friendships and with coworkers and with business partners. And I love that we have a choice. One of our mentors says, it's not have to, it's get to, choose to, love to. And that's a really big change. When my words change, my thinking changes radically. And I love that I can do this and work from home and spend time with my son, especially when we're not chasing the therapies and the activities and all those things that we used to do to feel like that's what we had to do because that's what the experts told us. Today, we got a lot of vitamin D. We worked outside on the patio. We made sure that we had, an appropriate amount of time, and we were able to enjoy nature because grounding is so important in such an electronically fueled world. Okay, so bold, fearless, courageous. We have boundaries, which is a line or limit or border. Then we have bold. We're going to boldly have belief in our own boundaries. Now, if I say, Uncle Joe, you can come to house. I don't have an Uncle Joe, by the way. Uncle Joe, you can come to the house and we're going to have dinner. But if you talk politics or racism, we're not going to, or so-and-so's divorce or whatever. Dinner is over. That's the boundary. That's the little flags on the edge of the property. And that's okay because that puts the ball in the other person's court. And we can be respectful and we can be certain. And that's where belief comes in. It's an inner conviction and certainty. I have an inner conviction and certainty that this is the best course for my son's healing, for my own health. After a 95-pound weight loss, I've been able to take a breath, pause, and say, okay, now what's the plan? One of our friends does a lot, Dawn Allen, Coach Dawn, she talks about when you're building muscle, you don't restrict calories, you increase your protein. And that's a lot like when we're learning to set boundaries. It gets uncomfortable. And anyone who's angry with you for setting a boundary was benefiting from you not having any. And I know, especially us creatives, we are really determined to people please and wow the audience. And that's where we go, wait a minute. That's not what's best for me. That's not what's best for my son. That's not what's best for my business. And I'm a CEO. If you have a meeting and you don't tell me it changed, I'm done. And that's okay. I can be done and respectful. I still take the products. I still have an investment in a company. I'm just not attending those meetings because there was no communication. And I love that we can zero in on our story because I'm here to tell you your story matters. When I say we have walked through hell, now we walk through it like we own the place and you can too, I mean it with every fiber of my being. Because here's the deal. No one gets to their deathbed and regrets not taking chances or not risking failure. They regret the chances they don't take. And there's debate on who said this quote. Wayne Gretzky, sorry, I'm not a hockey fan. And it's all, we miss 100% of the shots we don't take. Now, I have an acrostic for boundary, and I want a huge shout out to Tennille, the captain, for sending this to me, and I am going to read it from my phone so I don't mess it up. And the letters B, O, U, N, A, R, Y, boundary. Be aware of what is unacceptable and normalize. Saying no, do, like D, I'm backwards, I'm mirrored, so D, do what is best for you. And know that things aren't your responsibility all the time. Ooh, can I get an amen? Your needs matter too. Oh, be still my heart. That is so good. And one of my favorite quotes from the Incomparable, amazing Brene Brown, who is a shame researcher and famous for her TEDx talk. She thought no one would watch, and it's been watched by millions. She says, daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves, even when we risk disappointing others. I am here to say you are valuable, you are worthy, and you are so important. Oh, that's a good one. Thank you so much. Uh, Boundary, not listening to gossip. Yeah. One of the good phrases I learned this week is, I realize you're having a tough time and you're really processing this hurt. I just don't have the mental bandwidth or the emotional bandwidth to sit here and steep in this. I will pray for you and I will help you. Let me know when you're ready. Boom. Nips the gossip in the bud. And then we have the opportunity to be who we're called to be. Because here at Warrior Moms by Bren, we're doing walk in purpose, championing your calling. So we have boundaries, that's a line or a border or a limit. We have bold, which is fierce, fearless, courageous. And we have belief, internal and a personal conviction. And boundaries are for my health. Say it with me. Boundaries are for my health. Boundaries are for my health, not the other person. And we communicate that respectfully and we own it. I'm so glad you guys are here. I really appreciate your time, and I know your time is valuable. Be authentic, legendary, and unapologetically you. See you in a few.